people are calling it Anfield's long goodbye to Jurgen Klopp, and it's like, go away. Don't need to think about this, because he even said, like, in the interview, he's like, hey, look, in between now and the end of the season, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to think about this. I don't want to talk about this.
Just want to do my job. Let's be cool.
The next match is not about me. The match after that is not about me. Don't make anything about me. Be there to support the team. Maybe when we get to the last home game of the season and it's that time and it's finally time to say goodbye, then we will. Then we'll do something special at that point. And hopefully we'll do it with a bunch of trophies. Right. But until that time, it's not about me. Just support the team.
Yeah. Stand up guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hello, Internet. How's it going?
Hi, Internet.
Yeah.
All right. Are you guys ready to get started?
Yep.
Sure. Why not?
All right. Let's get started here in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hi. My name's right this week.
That's right. And the Nymph.
Hello.
Do a quick plug here for patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones on numbers. Hey, Boston, did you mute that other thing that you were supposed to mute?
I don't know. Oh, yes. I did. The YouTube in the background has been muted. Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
And I tested it while we were doing The Outcast, which is our behind-the-scenes exclusive, uncensored episode that comes out every week. We're talking about a whole bunch of stuff that isn't video games, and we actually didn't do that. We actually did that this week. Sometimes we talk about video games, but that's okay. It's just a little quick extra thing. We got some energy drinks here, some audio nightmares, talking about Liverpool in a bunch of different ways, some good and some reality show
not so good
ways. Yeah.
Let me tell you, anytime a Scouse is on a reality show, that's a bad mix, dude.
It was a spicy season of Below Deck, that's for sure. Don't forget also at the $5 tier, you get exclusive access to the. We actually have one upcoming this week. There's a episode of Critical Miss's production meeting. Moon and I are kind of give a peek behind the curtain into the spreadsheet. I guess we're talking about how we come up with each season of Critical Misses. This one is a very good one. We come up with a brand new season that is. Every once in a while, we kind of stumble on a new season. We're like, this movie could fit into a season. Wait a minute, 30 movies in this season. That's very much this episode. At the $5 tier, go ahead.
It's less a peek behind the curtain. More of we rip the veil from our own faces every single time we do one of those things.
That's right. Yeah, they're very good. I know if you haven't listened to them, I know they might not sound the most interesting, but I think if you kind of want a really honest peek of how the sausage is made for most of these shows, I think that's what the production meeting will give you.
Pained realization in audio form every single time.
That's right. Also, we have a brand new episode coming out of the Supernatural TV show Watchcast, which is The Wayward Sons, featuring Moon and the Nymph. Go ahead.
So, I just need to mention this. So, something I probably should get better about promoting is The Wayward Sons. If you haven't listened to it and you don't know, we tend to go, like, on this show itself that we're doing right now, on the main show, we go a little off topic here and there, but then we're pretty... Normally, Boston brings us back to the road and we continue talking about what we're supposed to be talking about. Mm-hmm. Boston isn't on Wayward Sons. It's just me and him.
Yep.
So it's slowly gotten longer and longer.
We don't need no roads.
The episodes get longer. The conversation gets more... out of left turns into just U-turns and backwards. Mm-hmm. But one of the things as well is... yes. But one of the things as well is it also gives us a lot of deep dive time to talk about things. Obviously, they're going to be related to the episode we watch at the time, but it's a lot more thoughtful, introspective, extrospective kind of thinking and talking about things that are going on at the time, not going on at the time. There's a lot more Outcast-style conversations there, and it probably especially helps that we're allowed to swear on that show, which, just so you know, if you listen, we swear on that show.
Yeah, it is uncensored, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you haven't listened before, over on the Patreon page, there is the, and actually this feed as well, there's the first episode is available for free, so you can go check that out. And don't forget, early access to We Rogue Like It, Critical Misses itself, whole bunch of other stuff. Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers.
All right, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
I played a little of a lot this week, if I'm completely honest.
Okay.
I'm going to start off talking about Steamworld Build, because we need to make sure that we mention that our current Game Club game is Steamworld Build.
Yep.
That is recording in a couple of weeks. We have a Discord channel for that too.
That's on Game Pass, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I have thoughts. We'll put it that way, which I will not talk about right now, because we have an episode for it.
Right.
Well, Steamworld Build, that's the current Game Club game. Definitely give it a shot if you're interested in. It's a city building game,
Yes.
to put it bluntly.
Yeah.
So definitely give that one a try. Don't even need to worry about pulling up videos for these, Boston.
Okay.
I wrapped up Thirsty Suitors, which was our previous Game Club game. Go give that a listen. It'll be in your feed from last week. I got all of the achievements in that. The only one I was missing was the battles. So I put a podcast in. I set it to easy, and then I just hit the A button a lot and summoned everybody over and over again.
Yep.
Yeah, thoughts. Listen to that episode of Game Club if you want to know how I feel about that one.
Those thoughts continue.
Yes. I wrapped up Under Leaves, which is the hidden item object findy game I was talking about last week.
Correct, right.
Which is relatively simple, relatively cheap. There's an achievement in there for not using the hint system in the game, which drives me crazy.
It's a little cruel.
It's especially cruel because each map you need to find like 15 items, and there's like 32 to 64 places it could be. So guides are useless. Just so you know.
See.
Nice.
Yikes.
So have fun with that. I hate the stupid green levels. Anything with the leafy levels with the trees and the stuff like and the leaves, I'm out. The blue levels, 10 seconds flat, and I'm done. The green levels, can't see nothing.
Right.
It's like stupid chameleons blending into everything.
Are you green colorblind?
No, I can see it. It's just for whatever reason
just a general question.
No, I thought Moon was going to be like, well, maybe.
I was saying,
no, I don't know what it is, but I can't. So the green leafy maps, for whatever reason, every single time, once I see it, and it's crystal clear where it was. But when I'm doing the pan and scan kind of thing that you do with hidden object games,
it blends in better.
It doesn't jump out at me. Whereas on the blue levels, like the water-based levels, it'd be like, oh, find the starfish, like click, 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 done. Let's go.
Right.
And I'm out.
Speed run.
Yeah. Speaking of the green levels, thanks, Boston.
You're welcome. Well, it's showing for the video viewers that the shades of green in this game are pretty similar to each other, and then the objects that you're finding are almost exactly
shaped
the
like
color
leaves
of the thing that they're sitting on. So it just looks like a leaf, but there's a caterpillar on there. It's like, oh, I wouldn't have noticed that. Okay.
It is very frustrating to try and find that kind of stuff on specifically the green levels. The brown level I was okay at. The green levels I was terrible at. The blue levels I was amazing at. And like the whitish levels, I was pretty good at. That one was fine. But there's actually two maps in the game. And like the second world map, I should say, is so much easier because it's not one color based. It's like, oh, here's some brown mountains, some blue water, some yellow sky.
Oh, nice.
It's like, okay, I know exactly where I'm going for all of this stuff then.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But it's a fun game. It was cheap. I'm pretty sure I probably picked it up on sale for like $1. So I'm not going to complain about it. But yeah, I completed that. Had fun with it. Don't know why I do this to myself.
Here it goes. I love it.
But I'm back on my Disney-Pixar Rush playthrough.
Oh yeah.
This is the Connect Not Connect Disney-Pixar game. That's on Game Pass, by the way. So, I have one note here for myself to talk about here, and it specifically says, "Why so grindy?"
Mm.
When in actuality, I know exactly why it's so grindy. Because it's a kid's game.
I'm still writing down the title, Rush, a Disney-Pixar adventure.
There we go.
Sheesh.
Like that's why it's so grindy, is because it is a kid's game. So basically you go to each world of the Pixar land. So I think there's The Incredibles, there's Ratatouille, there's Up, Cars, and maybe one other. I'm not Nemo.
Toy Story?
Oh yes, maybe not Up, maybe Toy Story into the, I don't know. There's like 5 or 6 worlds, whatever the case may be. And you do a level, and then if you do well in that level, you unlock the next level. And there's like 3 levels per zone, essentially. The problem is every single level, or the character you play as in those worlds, which is always a official one from that world, has a special ability which you only get by getting to the last level and then scoring enough points in that last level to unlock it. And then you can go back to the previous levels and play those levels with this new ability that you have.
So it's like the Lego games where it's sort of like,
yes.
Oh, now that I've finished this, I have
mode.
a Sith character. Now I can unlock all these Sith doors.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's a lot of that. But the problem is each time you play the level, you have like 9 goals to achieve, and you get further in that in the goals by playing the level. Oh, you got 3,000 points. Let's add that to the score. Then you got 3,000 more. Let's add that to the score.
Oh, so it's
you
not
have
like
to play
you get
each
a
level.
It's not like you get a gold medal for scoring 3,000 points in the level once, so you unlocked everything. You're just replaying it over and over again. Woof.
You have to get to like 15,000, 20,000 score or something like that, and it's a lot of replaying the level with unskippable cutscenes and horrifically bad children voice acting, and questionable impressionists from the actual cast themselves.
It's me, Woody. Hello. It's like, what? No,
hey,
hold on.
You can never mention Woody in this conversation because it's always Tom Hanks's brother who does his voice, dude. Every time.
That's true.
You could have said Buzz, but
That's
not
true.
Woody.
I'm trying to look
It is ironic, though, that Woody is the least wooden character of all time, normally. It's the other people who are the problem.
Right.
I know, it's fine. It controls like hot garbage. It's got minimal interactivity points other than mostly it's just a runner and you're collecting coins and occasionally pressing a button to do a special ability or two. Hearing people do a British impression for the Cars because apparently it's Cars 2 or 3 or like a spin-off movie that's in this a lot. So I haven't seen anything past Cars 1. So the only thing I know is you need to, sometimes to go forward, you need to go sideways. So other than that, I have no clue.
Sorry, I'm looking at who made... Emma, is this right that Asobo Studio made this?
100%.
So the same team that made Microsoft Flight Simulator and A Plague Tale Requiem and Innocence made Rush, a Disney-Pixar adventure. Okay. Oh, they also made Fuel on the 360. I liked that game.
That one was pretty good.
Wild.
Doesn't
There's
Plague
an
Tale take place in Europe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then why do they have issues with European accents?
I don't know.
You're asking a good question.
I don't know.
Good point.
Anyway, your achievement, though. Sorry.
No, you're good. There is an achievement for watching the credits through to the very end.
Oh.
You thought Ubisoft credits were long. Let me tell you about a Disney multinational.
A Disney and Pixar joint.
Yeah, it's so bad, dude.
Boy.
My controller turned off 5 times.
Oh gosh.
Because it goes through not only Asobo, it goes through all of the international studios that did it, all of the localization teams that did it, all of that stuff. That's all in there too. And they actually want to credit everybody, so it's literally stupid long.
Yeah.
I was sitting here editing Wayward Sons with the credits on my television running over there, and anytime I saw the Xbox sidebar pop up telling me that I was like close to an achievement or something, I would turn left, turn my controller back on, hit the A button, and then let the credits keep going again. It was horrifically bad.
Gosh.
The game is fine. I don't know. I've probably still got like 10 hours worth of playtime to get the rest of the achievements to install this nightmare. My final game this week it's the one everybody knows I'm going to talk about. It's the one I have to talk about. It is the new default of Friday's game night game. It's Lethal Company. Lethal Company is great.
Yeah.
So, obviously a lot of people were not online at 11:30 at night on Friday night on our Discord channel when I posted if anybody wants to play. But if anybody feels like they want to play Lethal Company, just let me know. I'm probably going to cap my lobby out at 6 to 8 people because if 4 people die, you lose 100% of your money. So I don't want that happening.
Even with the mod to have more people?
Even with the mod.
Gotcha.
It's the percentage of money you lose is based on how many people die, and I think it starts at like one person dies, you sacrifice like 10% of your money. I think it's 10% and then 5% if you get their body. Then it's like 20% for 2 and 10% if you bring both the bodies back. So it's like some weird math goes on. But if you put 8 people in there and 4 people die, technically you're doing fine, but you've just lost a full squad, so you sacrifice a lot of money to do so, kind of thing.
Right.
So probably gonna do max of about 6 and 8. Boston.
Yes.
You are going to be looped into this.
Okay.
At some point, obviously. So I got a message from friend of the show, Rob, who was like, "Oh, hey, Boston totally got the Skinwalkers mod wrong, by the way." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. He hasn't played it. What's the actual thing?" It's not that the mimics have your voice; it's every enemy has your voice. So every enemy can steal your voice.
Oh, so it's worse. Okay.
It's worse. It's so much worse than you possibly thought it could be.
Good.
So I've put together a new set of mods, essentially. So right now, all I'm playing with is more company, so I can have the bigger lobbies. This upcoming Friday, I've put together a range of mods, which I think is both helpful and also stupid. So I put like the ship scan. When you scan in the ship, it's hard to see exactly how much money you have in there. So I put the one that basically turns that into it optimizes it so you can actually see how much money you have.
Oh, nice.
Obviously, I have more company in, and thanks to you and me both agreeing on it being questionable, I've downloaded the mod which turns the radios into the same proximity chat as the players, so that if you're holding a radio and someone is talking to you, and I am not holding a radio, I can hear what they're saying to you. So it turns it into
It's one of those things
it makes
where,
more
like,
sense.
Yeah, we didn't realize that. So how the game works sort of by default is if Moon and I were together and I had a radio and I was speaking on the radio, whoever was speaking to me, Moon couldn't hear. Doesn't really make sense with how like radios and walkie-talkies work. So
yeah,
especially when you consider how great the game is with every other aspect of its sound design.
Exactly. So that's a cool mod. I'm glad somebody made that.
Yeah, so I've got that one. I put the mimic in.
Oh, okay.
Because Rob is playing, so I have to give him something to find funny.
Right.
And if he's the first one to go through it, fantastic, even better.
Right.
I did read the mod description, and apparently there is a way of telling which is real and which is not. You just gotta, just like everything else in the game, you just gotta figure out the best strategy for dealing with that situation.
Right.
So because you're gonna be looped in, I want to know: do you want the Skinwalkers mod in there, Boston?
No, that sounds terrifying. Like, to me, I think one of the strengths of Lethal Company is that the enemies themselves, even if you know how to deal with them, they're still terrifying.
Super powerful still.
Yeah. So, like, I think you don't need the added
Stress.
scariness of them having your friends' voices, because they're already scary enough. Like, yeah.
So that's absolutely fine. So that one will not go in the loop, but I will have a new code for everybody who I will be inviting in for the modding side of things.
Perfect.
So we can just all literally. It's so useful, that code. It's just like click code, download, done. Everybody's on the same stuff. Let's go.
Yeah, it's so handy.
So I will have that, and I will disperse that amongst the people playing. I'm pretty sure. I hope you can make it this Friday, Boston. I know you haven't been able
Fingers
to.
crossed.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all have our own lives. Because I roped somebody else in who I'm very excited to play with.
Okay.
And I know you would have a blast with them.
Okay.
So I'm hopeful everything will go nicely, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Right.
So now I've talked about Lethal Company and the upcoming plans. I kind of need to get the Lethal Company story out the way now, right? Like that's
Sure.
what we do. Thank you, by the way. You posted a video of someone playing the game in the stream with spray paint. Totally forgot. First time I played with spray paint, that was this week.
Yeah, I haven't seen it before. Is it new?
No, it's just in the store and nobody ever seems to buy it because it can run out, and you have to do the clicky shaky to get it to actually work, which is
That's
hilarious every time. And again, great sound design on that too, just for the record. The problem is it stays. And when you have a Rob in your ship who is spray painting every inch of the ship that he can possibly see, and then he decides he's going to paint the computer monitor, which you need to use to see moons that you're going to land on. It is very difficult to read that when it's covered in, like, the default color is like yellow glow in the dark type spray paint.
Right.
So it's just incredibly hard to see through. And it's just, thanks, Rob. That's just fantastic.
So good.
We had a rough night on Friday. I'm not going to lie. Like, we had we went from in like 5-6 weeks not having died once, like not having a full wipe once, to having like 4 in like an hour in this Friday, which tells you experience isn't everything you need in this game. Sometimes you just need luck. One of them was particularly hilarious because there was a tree giant incident, which I'm not going to explain to people what they are. If you don't know, have fun in bumping into them in the game.
Right.
And I made it back to the ship. Everybody else got eaten by the same tree giant, and it ate Rob right on the outside edge of the ship, on like the fire escape kind of landing thing that it has on the outside. It ate Rob on that. I was like, okay, I'm going to hit this lever, and then as the ship's going up into the sky, I'm going to run out and try and grab the loot that Rob dropped on that platform.
Oh, sure.
And then bring it back in so we can have a little bit extra. So I hit the button, the ship starts to take off, and then as I run out and around the corner, that very same tree giant just picks me up like I was a fly. Like, thanks for that.
Well, I tried.
Now there's a ghost ship. Yeah.
Yep.
And so I love Rend. Let's just get that out of the way first. I adore Rend. Rend is my favorite planet because it's the new type of monsters, it's the new type of scary, and also you get very valuable items there, so you can get a decent haul pretty quickly. But you have to pay to go there, so every time you go there, it's risky. We went there and it was stormy twice. For the record, the toy robots are metal. Do not take them out in the storm.
Oh,
just
good
so
to know.
everybody is aware. But we got a whole bunch of stuff in that. And then we had to leave Rend, and we couldn't go back there because we didn't have enough money because Rob got himself ate by the company. Because of course he did.
Yep.
And I had probably the tensest 20 minutes of my life. Because we were in one of the middle tier moons, so it's the factory layout essentially. It's not the mansion, it's the factory. It's the old school kind of monsters, your spiders, your brackens, that kind of stuff. So we're all in there, and then I get lost. I can't find myself, and then everybody else goes quiet. So we got a ship full of stuff, me with a full inventory full of stuff, and I can't hear or see, and nobody's responding on the radio, so I'm assuming everybody's dead.
Yeah.
And I'm so lost. I spent probably 15 minutes walking around this factory layout, trying to get my bearings so I could escape.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem was there was definitely one, maybe two, bracken hunting me.
Oh no.
And I only know this because I came out while I was lost. I came out around a corner, and then I see the telltale trail of blood of the bracken with walkie-talkie and a microphone and a flashlight sitting there.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, there's a bracken around. That's good to know. And literally spent the next 20 minutes doing. Let me just put this on the record. Earning my most paranoid employee award at the end of that round.
That's right.
Because I full inventory, can't sprint fast, can't go fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole time I'm like stopping, turning around, looking behind me. Go like 2 corridors further, stop, turn around, look behind me. Because of course I've got a chemical jug which cuts out half of my like view screen.
Oh,
So I can't
sure.
see nothing. My flashlight's dead. My walkie's dead. I'm wandering around in the dark with nothing to help me. And knowing that those 2 ragamuffins, Ash and Rob, are sitting in the dead person lobby just giggling away at all of the
Right.
terrible things that I'm encountering.
Right.
So it's me in the like. I'm not kidding. I was terrified.
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't seen the bracken, it's the Enderman. So it's just the thing with the eyes made of darkness that follows you and hunts you down. And if you've ever seen it from like a death camera perspective, they will literally crouch and then follow people. So they will
Oof.
follow behind you, hiding around corners. And then as you like go around corners, they'll come out and then sneak up behind you and steal your face. So I'm trying to survive at least 1, probably 2. I think it's 2. I'll have to check the footage. Brackens, which I'm constantly having to turn around because the key. No, I'm not even going to tell you how you fight the bracken. You figure it out yourself.
Mm-hmm. You've been given your hints.
Yes, I'm trying to deal with the 2 of them at the same time. And I literally come around this corner and literally the thing is standing right here.
Oh,
like,
no.
In the door jam. I don't think I've screamed as much as I've screamed at that moment in time. Because then I did what was needed and it ran away. And I was like, oh, okay. I survived that one. Great. And then I get out of the factory and it's 9 p.m. at night. So all of the monsters are spawning outside. And then I was like, oh, well, it's the map with the rickety bridge and the concrete bridge.
Yeah.
The problem is the rickety bridge has already fallen because of people goofing around on it.
Okay.
And the concrete bridge has a bee nest right at the end of it.
Great. So
I have to go the long way around, all the way to the side of the building, then across, and then as I'm walking through this horribly dark forest, heading towards the ship, there's a tree giant. I'm like, come on!
Throw me 1 bone.
Couldn't just 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. That's all I needed was 2 minutes. So it became a horrible like hiding behind the trees, and then as soon as I know he see me, sprint for the ship as fast as I possibly can, and then hopefully get in before he gets me.
Right.
I think I made it as his hand was coming through the door. Like I could see his hand in the wall clipping through as I was approaching the lever. I don't think I've ever been that scared since I played the Blair Witch Project. Like that was probably the last time I was that tense and stressed out. And it's even worse because I know those 2 were having a laugh and a joke at my expense the entire time.
You're over there crying, and they're like, "Look at this dummy."
Yeah.
And then of course, because I came in late and didn't follow the same path they did, I went a different path, so got into their area differently. So Rob tells me after the fact, he's like, "Yeah, you should have just gone left here." It's like, dude, I came in a different way. I didn't know how you came in.
Yeah. Oh man.
But Lethal Company's really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Like real good. But that's all I've been playing. Nimp, take it away.
All right. My segment's going to be fairly short. So I'm going to talk about my longest played game this week so far, and that is Remnant from the Ashes, because Feyre and I played it Tuesday night. We actually had a very productive run that night.
Nice.
The corridor that we were stuck in, we started learning more about that as we continued playing it. We were noticing, first off, I was noticing that for some reason, Feyre and I were taking damage at different rates. So we were trying, we couldn't really figure out what was going on with that. I thought maybe it was because like my vitality I have pumped to like level 20 already.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already maxed out, and I thought theirs was a little lower than mine, but they were like, no, mine's like 18, 19 as well. I was like, oh, okay, so whatever. But we were finding out that you take more damage if you use stamina. So like running, using a melee. But you regain health if you kill things. But we were not at a point where we were able to kill enough things at it, because you get rushed, and then there's like nothing for a little bit, and in that nothing phase when we're like trying to sprint through because we're losing health.
Oh, right.
So we have to run because we have to find something to kill. We could still heal, so like we could use our dragon hearts and stuff like that. That would heal us. We could use our we both have the healing AoE mod. So we can both heal up to 2 times for both of us. But like we were running out of that, and we were nowhere near the end of it. And so one time, Feyre ends up dying, and they're like, "I'm just gonna look this up to see what this is." It's like, all right, cool. And I was still alive, so I was continuing to explore, and I was just taking my time walking through, trying to live long enough just so that we can scout and see, okay, where is the next point we're supposed to go to? Because the furthest we got, there's a 2-level point that we were at. We went to the lower level the first time. That didn't go anywhere, so it looked like we had to go to the second level, and that would allow us to advance further. Before we even got to that point, Feyre was like, "Oh yeah, no, we're not doing this right now," because they found out that this is supposed to be a post-game area, and at the end of it is just a mace.
Okay.
A really good mace, but this is like, we are like 20 hours too early for whatever this corridor is.
Right. That makes sense.
It wasn't horrific. I mean, yeah, it was a super pain, but whatever. So we're like, all right, cool. We're not going to worry about it right now. So we go back out. We were still in the desert area with the little villages and stuff like that. So we went to the last available route that we had, which eventually brought us into a boss fight. And the boss we ended up fighting was called Raz. And it's this giant floating weird pyramid thing. It doesn't really look like a pyramid. It's just the closest thing that it looks like is a pyramid with a mouth, pretty much. So we start fighting this thing, and it does a couple of things. It opens up its maw and spits out fire, which gives you the burn passive, which is not a great thing to have.
No.
And at one point, Feyre had, I think it was like burn times 12 stacked on them. So their health bar is just running to 0.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, this isn't great. So we try a couple of times, and as you continue in, it starts to, it'll disappear for a minute. It'll summon a bunch of floating skulls to fight, and there's 2 different kinds. There's ones that will shoot at you, and there's another one that basically kamikaze you, and they leave behind like this radiation cloud that if you walk into, you'll start to gain radiation.
They suck so
bad.
They
scream?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, they scream, because that's how you can hear, and that was the thing that sucked. You can hear them coming, but depending on where you were in this little arena, you can't see them. You don't have visibility for all of the arena depending on what point you're at in it. So you can hear the thing screaming at you and coming to you, and you're checking like 3 different corridors to try to figure out which way it's coming at you. And the last one you check is when it's right there next to you and blows up. It's like, this is fantastic. So after a couple of tries, Feyre was like, hey, let's just do what we did with the Ant boss. I will focus on the boss, you focus on the ads. Like, all right, cool, that's doable. So that took us about 2, maybe 2 or 3 more tries, and then we finally get it. And everything is great. This is my first time ever fighting this boss. And I was telling Ferror that there is a mod that you can get eventually that allows you to summon skulls. And in my runs, I have never gotten that mod before. This boss drops that mod.
Oh, there you go. That's cool.
So I was like, all right, cool. Now, because I've seen, anytime I played this in the past, I would always see other players come into my world with this mod. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, you know. So now I have it. So I switched out on my pistol. I used to have the fire mod on there because that thing is really good.
Yeah.
I even lit this past boss on fire a couple of times because of it to get that extra damage. I was like, I'm gonna switch that out because I want to try out the skull thing and see how it works out. So the way this works is you can summon, how both of us have it, and you can summon up to 2 skulls at once.
Oh, wow.
You can do 1 at a time, but you're capped out at 2. The skulls will hang around for a maximum of 60 seconds, and they can deal, I think it's like a minimum of like 100 damage per attack.
Wow.
And it's just a floating skull. It's like, all right, cool. So we have like an extra helper following us. So we continue to explore this area. And we're just like randomly summoning skulls because I want to check out, you know, what's the range on this? Do they attack by themselves or are they waiting for me to initiate?
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. They do have quite a bit of a range because I summoned a skull. It didn't do anything at first, but as I walked closer, all of a sudden that thing made a beeline for a building. And then there's just like, I see like the damage counter just going.
Right.
I'm like, oh, this is great. And then of course, because the skull aggroed everything, they're starting to run to us. So we take them out and it works. The thing that sucks is it's hard to figure out which one's your skull and which one's an enemy skull.
Sure.
Because as we continued on, the floating skulls became a normal enemy in this area. So we would take out like a group of 5 or 10 skulls, and there would still be 2 coming at us, and I would start shooting it, but then I would see the little green indicator, like, oh crap, that's ours. Never mind.
Sorry, buddy.
I'm pretty sure I've killed Ferror's skull at least once or twice because of that. Where it's like we got through like a real hellish fight and there was still one skull like coming back at us and I just unloaded on that thing. So,
oh man.
So as we continue on, we're checking out these skulls and it's like, all right, these are really useful. I think I'm gonna keep using them. We find the next boss, which is the horror. I don't think I've ever fought this boss either before. You're basically, so the arena that you're in for this one is, if you think in the center that there's just a square and then on the outside there is a thinner square outside of it, and that's kind of like a catwalk is the thinner square. You come walking in on that thinner square, there's 3 different points that can lead you to the center square, and there looks like there's a basement level, a main level, and then like a second floor level for this arena. We tried fighting the boss a handful of times, but like our first encounter, boss initiates after we walk through the door. We get the cutscene, and I'm like, well, I'm going to summon my skull. That way we've got something else that's pulling aggro.
Yeah.
I summon one skull, and we watch the health just start to fall off of this boss.
Oh, boy.
Like, I got a second skull. I'm going to summon that right now, and it's just starting to go down faster. We get to the point where it's like as we're testing this, because once you drop the boss down to half health, it will jump up to the second level, and then it'll start to summon a bunch of ads. So it's like the first time that happened, we got wiped because there's just like they're all melee, they're all running at you, and there's a variant of this ad in there that when you kill them, they will blow up and they'll leave like that radiation cloud in there.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, okay, you know, we both died because of that. That's fine, whatever. We'll get this figured out. Our second time we walk in there, Pharaoh and I pumping those skulls out, and we're just watching that hell. And the boss doesn't even get to us for its first attack. It's already down to half health, and it's already trying to initiate the ad summoning. So it's trying to run away to get to the second level so it can call its ads. We're like, oh, this is working great. We're not even trying right now, and everything's going great. The only thing we have to figure out are these stupid ads because, like I said, they come at you hard and fast. So what we started doing was we would pop the skulls as soon as we walked past the fog door, and we would run to the left out inside the catwalk. So that would put us in a corner. That way we only have 2 directions. I would watch one direction. Pharaoh would watch the other direction. that was working out, but then we discovered that there was a radiation pipe behind us. So anytime something would get close enough and hit that would make the pipe burst, and now that corner of the catwalk was irradiated.
Okay.
And that killed us at least once before we figured out, oh, that's what's happening. So then we shifted tactics a little bit, and we were able to pretty much survive it calling us, or it calling its ads, killing all of those. Going through all those would allow our skulls to regenerate so we can call them back. So we moved to the center square. The boss finally comes back, and we just summon our skulls. I throw down a healing circle, and we're just unloading on this boss. And I think our fourth attempt, like, we were down to it where this thing's got a sliver of health, and I'm sitting there shooting it with my shotgun, and I'm like, I got 2 shells and no health and no way to heal. Right. Feyre's behind me and is barely doing any better. And I'm like, just keep shooting it. Just keep shooting it. And we just keep shooting. And we finally, and that thing straight up kills me. Like, not drops me into a revivable state. It one-shots me all the way to the point of the screen just saying, you're dead.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, wow. I'm yelling over the microphone. Did we kill it? Is it dead?
Give me some good news.
Do this again? Yeah. And Feyre's like, yeah, no, we killed it. Everything's fine. Feyre is thinking I am still alive because they didn't notice that I went down in front of them.
Right.
So I'm spectating them as they're checking out the arena and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, so when are you going to go back to the crystal so I can get brought back?
Can I come back to life, please?
Yeah. And that's when they realized, like, oh, I didn't even know you were dead. I was like, yeah, great, thanks. So through all of this, we now have met the Undying King. And we are now in the swamp area, and we stopped right there. Because that's pretty much what I told them. It's like, it was 10 o'clock and I wanted to keep playing.
Right.
But I'm like, it's already late enough for us. And if we start down this road, I'm not going to be able to stop before it's way too late for me to be going to bed.
Well, especially when you start a new area and you start mapping it, it's like, well, I want to get to the next big point. That way I don't have to regenerate the dungeon and go back through all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that is where we are at right now.
Nice.
We have discovered, though, that the reason Feyre kept an accessory equipped that I did not, for a very, very specific reason. And this game, if you have an empty accessory slot, if you pick one up that can fill it, it will automatically fill in. It will automatically equip that for you.
That's right.
Which isn't bad. But so far, there's only been like one necklace and one ring that have been worth for me to equip.
Right.
And one of them that we came across was called the Admiral. What was it? The Admiral's Ring? Ring of the Admiral, which increases your all damage dealt by 15%. I was like, okay, that's well and good. Problem is that it increases all damage taken by 300%.
Aha, there it is.
So I took that off as soon as I read the description, as soon as we picked it up. Feyre apparently forgot to do that.
Right.
So that is why Feyre has been consistently taking so much damage and dying so much faster than I am.
Now it makes sense.
So, yeah, they have that off now. We're going to continue to explore the swamp. I feel like I should maybe put that ring on for a bit. That way Feyre can finally get the Revivalist talent.
That's true. That Revivalist talent is really good. I don't remember how much you... So anyone that didn't play the Revivalist talent, you revive your party members faster. I think once you max it out, it's like 50% faster, something like that. It's a pretty big amount.
I think only putting a couple points into it, I'm about 15-20% faster right now.
It's a huge buff.
Yeah. And it's appreciated, and it's noticeable how quickly it goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we are going to continue playing that now. We just have the swamp area to figure out. There's a couple hidden things that I remember from the swamp. We'll have to see if they generate in this map or not. Because so far, I think there's only been one boss that we've gone against. The entry is the one that I've gone against before.
Right.
But Feyre's maps have so far been like the complete opposite of any ones that I've played to this point.
That's
so
cool.
It's kind of like playing a brand new game for me right now.
Yeah.
And I love it. I will also say, as a quick side note, you don't need to pull a video for this, but I did touch Remnant too.
Oh, okay.
and I'm not telling Pharaoh or anything that I did in it because I really want to play. I'm going to play it with them as well, but I really wanted to check it out as well. And that game is so clean and nice.
It looks so good. I think it's a UE 5.1 game. It looks really good.
And Remnant, the first game, is great. And this is just like extra greatness.
Now it's great and looks good.
Yeah. So I am super excited to get to that game now. But I had an issue with the Xbox where I don't know what happened, but the settings that I had for my TV, I had like the full screen for the Xbox. But when I started playing Remnant 2, everything was cut off on the edges of my TV.
Oh, weird.
And it took a while for me to figure out that, I don't know if it was an old update or what, because it's not noticeable on any other games. It was just Remnant 2. I don't know if it was an update or something or what, but I had to change the settings on my TV to finally get the green full screen bar to show up on the Xbox display caliber thing.
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of weird. I don't know what happened for that, but whatever. But that was something that was bugging me because apparently on PC, Remnant 2 had a very big issue with it not filling monitors in full screen mode. So anytime I would search for this issue on Xbox, not a single word from anybody. It was all PC stuff. And I'm like, I am obviously having this issue. I cannot be the only one.
Right.
So that was a weird thing. And same thing with my PS5, though. Like, all of my stuff was coming in full screen on my PS5. So I don't know why. Maybe the new Unreal Engine makes it more noticeable or something. I have no clue. But anyway. Everything's adjusted and looks fine on my end. Quickly, Divinity Original Sin 2. I have made it to the Nameless Island. This is where Awoken go to become God Awoken. Doesn't mean anything to you guys. That's the whole point. You have to put 40 hours into this game. Yeah, exactly. Right. What this is turning out to look like, though, is since I am playing as Faye, who is a person from a very old civilization, this island is looking like it may have some artifacts from that time. And it's pretty much just a forgotten island that normally nobody can get to. So, all right. Played a little bit more of that, but I was like, I'm just going to give this a break right now because I'm getting to that point where it's like I'm getting close to the end of the game. So now I'm starting to really, really have to pay attention to what's happening and what I'm doing in battles and what I'm choosing for options and stuff like that. I'm like, it's a little too heady for me right now. So, putting that on the back burner for right now, and then I jumped into Legends of Heroes Reverie. I stopped at a point where things were just about to get interesting in this game. Between switching from the 3 different characters, I'm at a point where all the characters started finding like these black mirrors in their pockets, and they don't have a clue how that got there or what this is from or anything.
Okay. If it's anything like the show, that's bad news.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. In this case, it is not. What I just found out as the game has continued from my last save point is that the characters have been disappearing and going into this other kind of realm called the Reverie Corridor.
That's a cool name.
It's what this whole thing is it's basically a training ground that isn't in the real world. So they go into this. Yes. Yeah. They go into this area and they can train. The problem is, though, when they go into that area, they don't remember what they were doing outside of this area.
Oh.
Like, they remember, like, let's say they remember, I don't have, like, a definitive, like, date time lined up for this, but let's say they remember everything up to, like, the last 3 days. The last 3 days are a complete blank slate for them. While they were in this area, they can train, they can get powerful, you can do all this other stuff. But when you go back, the characters don't have any memory of that area, of what they've done in that area, or that they were even gone.
Interesting.
So it's like that weird training thing from Dragon Ball Z, where it's like you disappear into the ball and you train for like a day and you've been gone for like 4 years or whatever kind of thing.
Right.
Excuse me, I think you'll find that's called the hyperbolic time chamber. Thank you very much.
I did not remember, and I did not want to bungle that up. So, yeah. So it's like, okay, this is a really cool aspect, because up to this point, yeah, like this, for all three characters, like this magic mirror has just appeared.
Mhm.
And they notice it as soon as it shows up in their pocket, and they're like, what is this? And now you're like, oh, they've been here before. They've done this before. That's why they all of a sudden have this item that no one can figure out where it came from or what it does.
Interesting.
So it's like, all right, that's pretty cool. That's something new that they're doing with the series. So there's a couple different things that you can do in this. It basically, when you go in here, what is it? The area where your characters can relax is called the Reverie Garden.
Mhm.
And there's a tree that can fully heal up your characters. There's like a mock-up shop for your orbitals and to actually buy and sell weapons and stuff like that. But they're like stone tablets. There's no other people in here except for you and this weird AI ball that just all of a sudden starts talking to you and starts explaining to you the things that are happening. So now that I've gotten to this point, I can go into the Reverie corridor, which is basically a randomized dungeon that you can just grind in and fight powerful monsters, get items, and get these new things, like shiny orbs, I think they call them. There's like different colors and stuff that you can get. You have to fight very powerful beings in the corridor to get these little shiny balls, and when you get done with the corridor, you come back to the garden, you talk to this other orb, and it's like, hey, you have all these balls, give them to me and I will give you things, and it turns into a gotcha thing.
Okay.
Now, not a horrific gotcha thing.
Right.
Everything is free, you're not putting money into it. But the different levels, it's like if you get like a silver orb, this will just give you like a random item from the item table. If you get, if you get like a blue one, that will start to unlock what they call daydreams, which are events that happened in the past that you can relive, or not really relive, but like for you, the players, your first time experiencing it. For the characters, some of them are reliving this memory.
Oh, okay.
But they're all things that happened before this game started, and it's kind of cluing you in as the player to, okay, these are what these characters were doing up to this point. Once you complete that, you get money, you get experience, and you get a bunch of extra items for it. It's like, all right, cool.
Interesting.
You get the red ones, I believe, are the ones that give you access to like mini games.
Oh.
So I now have a Galgun Magic Girl, basically Ikaruga shooting game unlocked that I can play now.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, you guys are getting crazy. I'm liking this.
Yeah.
And the last thing that you get is a gold orb. And when you put that in, it will give you an extra character to use in the corridor.
Oh, okay.
So far, they have given me a character, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but they have given me a character that you have never been able to control before. They've been in the game before, but they're always
not
an
part
NPC.
of your party. Right.
Correct.
That's cool.
The way this works out is they are still not technically in your party. They fill a slot called a tag-along slot, which means that they technically have a turn, but you don't control them. They will randomly do a support thing for your characters, and if you do an all-out attack, they will join the all-out attack as well.
Right.
But they're mostly support, even though you already have a support slot for a different character. I have a character, it gave me a random princess in the game.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, this is what it's doing. It's literally just, hey, this is an NPC, an important one. Now you can add them to your party while you do this section of the game.
That's cool.
So it's like, okay, so it's already interesting that they've broken this up where you can change between the 3 different storylines to follow the 3 different characters, but now I've got this whole other thing, which is kind of its own little game onto itself. Like it's a Persona game almost, where it's like, here's your midnight hour, go up Tartarus as far as you can, and when you're done, just back out and you're good to go kind of thing. So it's been real fun. I hope I beat this game because the actual Daybreak game is supposed to come out later this year, and I am not prepared for any of that.
Yeah. Gosh.
I'm going to call it a rough year for JRPGs, but it is going to be the best year for JRPGs.
Yeah. That's for sure.
My last 2 games real quick. Palworld.
Yep.
I did some more digging around in that because there's all this thing about AI art and all that, and as of right now, there is no evidence whatsoever that they're using AI art for this game.
Seems
the company
like
has
The company
But-
seems to be into it, but there's no evidence that the game itself
Yeah,
has any AI generated art.
past games that they've released definitely has AI generated art in it.
Yeah,
This game so far does not.
right.
Now, the legalese between this game and Game Freak and Nintendo, whatever,
Yeah.
there's a court system. Let them figure it out.
My favorite thing is, if anyone listening didn't see it this week, the Game Freak / the Pokemon Company put out a press release that's like, it's essentially
We're
like,
looking into it.
stop asking us. Of course, we know about Palworld. We didn't name it, but it's like the January 2024 big release. It's like, stop asking us. We know about it. Shut up.
Yeah.
Leave us alone. Go away.
So,
Like-
if go ahead.
So there's also been the accusations of plagiarism and model ripping and everything like that, which whatever, if that's true, that will come out and the game will go away.
Right.
I can't remember who it was, but it was an indie game dev. I saw a clip from them and they were like, hey, Nintendo is widely regarded as the most litigious game company on the planet.
Yep.
If they are going to do something, they will do it.
Right.
And also, Japan doesn't have fair use copyright laws. And Palworld and the studio behind Palworld and Nintendo are both Japanese companies. It wouldn't be an international lawsuit. It would be a local lawsuit.
Yeah,
Yep.
they would figure it out. Don't worry.
So all of this to say is that I am still against anything AI being done with video games.
Yeah.
So if this did have AI generated art in it, I would have dropped it.
Yeah.
Right now, as of today, January 28, 2024, there is nothing. There's like Forbes articles, PC Gamer, Kotaku, everyone's looked into it.
Everybody's
no one's been
hot
able
on
to
the
find
case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it feels like it's like they're trying to find something with it.
yeah,
I get
It's
it.
because it's so massively huge. I think people are trying to look for excuses to hate it. And
Not
it's like
play
it can be a thing that is popular that you're not into. Like, I'm not going to play Palworld because I don't really like crafting games. That's fine. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's probably not for me. People seem to love it though.
Yep.
that's where I'm at too, where I'm at the point where I'm continuously researching to make sure that I can keep playing this game, to make sure I am not supporting something that is doing something horrific. Yeah. Now, if Nintendo or Game Freak does end up suing, like I said, there are courts for that. So if it turns out that, yes, things have been stolen from Pokemon or from Nintendo, they'll have to pay their fair share, and then they'll end up having to do whatever is legally required for them. Fine, that's cool.
Yeah.
It happens. But as of right now, it still seems fun. Like, I don't need to feel dirty playing this game.
Exactly,
you know? For this reason.
Right.
I do feel dirty about all the weird videos I've been seeing about people basically making sweatshops for their pal people and calling them that. And that's the thing. It's like, it's a survival game where you can have your pals work for you, and everyone's taking it to like the nth degree of, here's the sweatshop that I built, and here's all the depressos in here building.
It's the
things.
automation.
Dude, it's the internet. Like, it's the internet that's not 1997 internet.
Remember
so of course it's going to go to the darkest place it can.
We were torturing Koroks last year. Like, it's the same. It's those same internet peeps.
And it's basically just kind of answering the question of what really happens in Pokemon, you know, out in the real world. Like, are we eating Toros out here? What's happening?
Right.
But it's fine. Like you were saying, I'm not a big survivalist game player either. I was pretty much just drawn to it by the fact
monsters.
That's right.
For the record,
I just get
it's
bored
the best
after a
type
while.
of game.
I'm not against it. Like most things,
one of them
it's
gets
just
me every once in a while.
Yeah, like No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was my survival game for the longest time.
That's not a survival game. That's a wannabe survival game. Go away.
It is not. Did you played that thing on no die difficulty?
100%.
He got all of the achievements.
Every achievement.
Yeah, so did I. Don't tell me that game wasn't difficult. You watch your mouth.
I'm not saying it wasn't difficult. I'm saying it's not a survival game.
Whatever. But anyway, I am having fun with this game. My son is having fun with this game.
Mm-hmm.
My son is having a ton of issues. He is playing on the Xbox, what is it, Series S? The last gen Series S
Xbox
version.
One S?
One Series S or whatever the hell.
Xbox
Thanks,
One
Xbox,
X
for-
or S.
Xbox
Yes.
One Series X. Come on.
He is having a lot of crashes, like all the
Okay.
time. He doesn't go a session without having at least 3 or 4 crashes.
Oh boy.
He also gets a bunch of slowdowns, which I have started getting slowdowns on the Series X as well, a little bit here and there. I haven't had any crashes on mine. But he is really enjoying playing it. We are back to him sending me like pictures, and like I have a text message from him of like
Dad,
the
look at
map
this cool
of the
thing.
world. Yeah, and it's like, hey, if you go to this, this coordinate grid on the map, you'll be able to find this, this, and this, and all that stuff. So we're going back and forth with it and testing things out and all that. So we're having a lot of fun doing that.
Right.
I had to move my giant computer thing away from a cliff because every time I would put pals in my base, they would spawn behind that and get stuck behind the wall. So, the game is still early access.
Yeah.
It still has a lot of things. Recently, every time I've turned it on, my character starts out in T-pose, and I have to run around for a while with them in T-pose before they start to animate normally again.
I
So
love
that's
early
how,
access games for some of this stuff.
Yes. So it's still fun. It's enjoyable so far. There's nothing AI to worry about. If you are interested in checking it out, I would suggest it. It's fun for what's there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already losing interest because I'm not a survival game player, but just having the pals and being able to set everything up with them has been enjoyable, and being able to summon them during a fight and be able to ride them and do dumb stuff with them. It's like that's what's keeping my attention right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's enjoyable, and that's all I got to say about that one. My last game, and this is going to be super short, is PowerWash Simulator. My daughter, she'll get on this kick where she'll want to play, and I'll play co-op with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll want to play it heavy for a couple days, and then she gets bored with it and moves on. Well, yesterday, she was asking me, it's like, hey, can we play PowerWash Simulator again? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll reinstall it on my Xbox because it had been so long I had uninstalled it, thinking she just completely lost interest in it.
Right.
So I reinstalled the game, and my wife and I had to run out to go take care of some stuff. And I was like, hey, we just got done with the playground level finally. There was like a bench and a trash can that we missed. And so we just had to mop that up and we were good to go. And I'm like, she has 2 houses to pick from and a golf cart.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, Mom and I are out running this errand real quick. You go ahead and do the golf cart. And by the time we get back, you should already be done with that. And then you can pick whichever house you want to do and we'll go from there. So, all right, cool. So she picks the house with the symbols on it that are spray painted on the house randomly.
Oh, okay, like the graffiti symbols?
Correct.
Yep.
So we start doing that one now, and boy, has this... I don't get twitchy playing a lot of games, but every once in a while, this game, when you've been spraying the same step with like your most powerful spray and nothing's happening to the stain that's on there, I start to get twitchy.
Yep.
Because it's like this is requiring precision that I'm not really getting out of these thumbsticks.
Yeah.
And like it's just annoying me, and I need to move on to a different stain.
And the game is always like, well, you should be using soaps and stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you can do it without the soaps, and the number of like soap bottles or whatever you can take is limited. So I don't want to waste it on a set of steps that I can just do slowly. And that's how they get you.
And soaps cost a lot of money.
They
don't, in my opinion, for the amount of money they cost, do not last a long time.
No.
So
That sounds like a man who doesn't shower.
who are you talking to? Me? Boy.
I smell like a spring field, thank you.
Yeah, I'll have you know, I still use bar soap, thank you.
There you go.
Anyway, so I don't use soaps. I don't get, like, my daughter, like, we have our own accounts that we're playing on. We have our own sets of money. So she, like I told her, it's like, if you want to buy the soap or whatever, go for it. I am actually on the next upgraded spray. I think I'm either already on the last one that you could get, or I am one below it. I don't remember where I'm at on that. but for some reason it won't let me bring mine into her game. I have to use the level that she's at.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which kind of sucks because now it's even worse for me because like I've been
Like,
on
look at
this
this
soot
weak
stain.
thing. What am I doing
Yeah,
here?
it's like I've been on this soot stain for 2 minutes and it's only down to like half. Like,
Right.
come on. So I completed the driveway, she completed the door, and then we decided, okay, I will do the front of the house, you do the back of the house, and then we'll just kind of meet up on the roof or something, you know, whatever we end up getting to. So I've got most of the steps done going into this porch of this house. She's got a fair amount of the back of the house done, but then she got bored and decided, I'm going to take the ladder and I'm just going to climb up to the roof.
Sure.
Every time the ladder gets picked up, for some reason, it pulls my character out of the prone stance, prone or squatting.
Oh, weird.
And I didn't realize this because it like happened several times where it's like I would be spraying underneath the step and all of a sudden my character would just stand up. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm not hitting anything. What's happening apparently is that I was standing next to an area that the ladder could be set at, because it's got like that shadow icon that pops up for it.
Yeah.
So every time she pulled the ladder, since I was standing in an area it could go, it would make my character stand up. Like,
interesting.
Oh, okay. I don't know why that matters, but whatever.
That's weird, yeah.
So that's one weird mystery, but I have moved. I think I brought this up last time, but my control, it actually saved my controls. Because I didn't delete my save or anything. I just deleted the game. So that keeps all that stuff. So I didn't have to reset the bindings because I have the show dirt binding on the left bumper of my controller. That way I can just keep tapping it
instead of the D-pad.
To see where I'm at. Yep.
Yeah.
So it makes it a lot easier. And then it makes it a lot easier too to play the game with just one hand.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That makes sense.
But yeah, it's PowerWash Simulator. I mean, it's great. There's like Christmas stuff in there that I didn't know was in there.
I think they just put in a free, I think it's free Christmas level. Yeah.
Yep.
I haven't played that yet.
I got, as soon as I opened the game, I got the giant banner talking about Back to the Future's here. And I'm like, oh, that looks pretty sweet. But that's
I watched that trailer and I was
like,
I will probably buy that when that's on sale. That looks pretty good.
So PowerWash Simulator, still a known good quantity game.
That's right. Still a great time.
Take a break if you start getting twitchy, because it's not going to get better.
And
that's why I'm stuck in the treehouse.
And the biggest tip for that game too is you don't have to hold down the trigger to spray. There is one of the key bindings that is just tap it. I think it's one of the buttons on the D-pad, and it just sprays forever until you hit another button.
And it does have, you do have the ability to fully customize the mapping of a controller on console.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You know, if you have issues, or like if you have issues, like you were just saying, with holding things down for an extended period of time, there are settings to adjust all of that for you. So there's not a setting to make it easier because of that stupid treehouse.
That's right. You should probably turn the rumble off too, because after a while my hands were just like, yeah.
So yeah, that's all I've been playing this week.
All right, I only have 3 games here. I'm going to start off with a real weird one because it was on sale. Danganronpa S Ultimate Summer Camp. I have finally pulled the trigger and purchased this. So let's talk about what the hell this thing is. Game? Is this what? Sorry,
Mario Party.
Is this Mario Party?
No, thank God. It's worse. So in the last Danganronpa game, Danganronpa V3, there was an optional mode where you could play. It's essentially like a tower climbing thing, and then a board game sort of thing, and there wasn't really any point to it other than I think a handful of trophies, so I never really played it. They spun that mode out into its own separate game. I bought it on PlayStation, I think it was like $3, $2.50, something like that. They've spun it out into its own game, and they've kind of improved both aspects of it. So number one, the tutorial is horrifically bad. It explains nearly nothing about how you're supposed to play the larger game that I'll get to in a minute. It kind of teaches you how to play the JRPG battle stuff and the board game, but kind of not how the entire game interacts with each other.
Yeah.
This also spoils literally every piece of Danganronpa media. So this isn't like the first game you start with. This is really kind of a fan service game because you get to see characters that weren't in each other's game interact with each other. So you're seeing characters from 1 interact with V3 characters, and it's kind of a fun mix to see all these different characters and personalities interact with each other that normally wouldn't.
Is this your beach volleyball equivalent?
Yeah, I guess sort of, maybe, with a lot more story though. So this game is really interesting because you're taking the characters that you've unlocked and taking them into the board game mode to try and raise their level and their stats as high as you can within 51 days. And a day is a turn in the game. And you're rolling dice, you're moving however many spaces that is. You're kind of taking down a boss to get to another island, to take down a boss to get to another island, and kind of rinsing and repeating. It's fairly straightforward. But what's interesting is you take the characters that you've leveled up in there and you take them into the JRPG side. And the higher you've leveled up those characters, the further you'll get in the JRPG side. And that unlocks a bunch of bonuses and sort of shortcuts for the board game side, so you can get further in there, so you can level up your characters more, so you can get further in the JRPG, and now you kind of see the loop that we're dealing with here. Bummer part of it, game doesn't explain really any of that. It's just like, yeah, go play the board game and then go fight these JRPG battles. Are they related? Who knows? Who cares? End tutorial. Yeah. Bye. So thankfully the community around this game is really good, and they've documented a lot of it, and there have been a lot of there was like one particularly good Tumblr post I found, which is like, hi, you're starting this game, here's how to play the overall game, not just here's how the board game works, here's how this works. So that has been really, really helpful. There was some controversy around this game because as you're completing stuff in the game and as you're unlocking characters and leveling them up and completing stories, you get a reward essentially for every character who you complete one run of the board game in. So you're kind of playing through each character as it goes. You get tokens for the essentially like gumball machines, gotcha machines that are in one of the menus. And that's how you get new characters, and then how you get essentially, I don't even remember what they call them. There's like a different type of card that buffs those characters sort of permanently. The big controversy in this game that doesn't exist anymore is allegedly when the game first came out, there was just another vending machine that's just like, hey, put real money into this thing and then you can pick a character to unlock. And everyone was like, ugh, I don't know about that. That seems pretty gross. Thankfully, that doesn't exist anymore. You click on the vending machine, and it's like, yeah, PlayStation Store doesn't work. Don't worry about it. Look somewhere else. Don't worry. That's not your problem. Don't worry about it. So thankfully, they stripped all that stuff out. It's a fun game. It's pretty cool. I've been playing this pretty much exclusively on my Portal, which seems like the thing that this is designed for, almost, this kind of leisurely turn-based thing. I'm not entirely sure who I could recommend this to. If you really like grinding in games that are relaxing, and you love Danganronpa, if that Venn diagram has a little sliver and you're in there, this is probably a pretty good time. I see myself playing this kind of on and off in the background for a while, but I don't know if I would go for the platinum, because it seems like this is grinding the game for the platinum, and I'm not entirely sure. I might feel differently after I complete all the characters, and it seems like as you complete more characters, you get more story, and the story so far is not very good. But it kind of fleshes out as you continue to go through it. So, I don't know. We'll see. Seems weird. Favorite Rain says, so it's for Dungeon Encounters fans. No, that's like a different set of brainworms. That's like, hey, I love spreadsheets. You guys love spreadsheets? Here's a game for that. God,
There needs to be a
Dungeon
second
Encounter is
one of
so
those.
good. I just,
Yeah.
I want to play it again, and I can't, because then I'll just do 100% of it again. I can't bring that into my life right now. So Danganronpa S, it's good. You probably shouldn't play it. Like, it's just such a weird thing to say, like, I really like it, but I'm not sure who this is for at all. So, it's weird. Anyways, moving on, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. I have finished that this week. I'm actually one trophy away from getting the platinum.
Nice.
And this game is incredible. It's really great. I'm happily scouring the edges of this map as much as I can. I have nothing bad to say about this game whatsoever. It's one of the best Metroidvanias that I have played in a really long time. It is just long enough to be interesting without overstaying its welcome. It has incredibly good boss fights. I am going to highly recommend. So I don't think I talked about it last week. It's actually a parry system in the game, and it's just pull L2 when enemies have. You can do it with kind of normal enemy attacks, but if you do the parry when enemies have the yellow attack that they're coming at.
Mhm.
Standard video game stuff. Red attacks you can't parry, you just got to get out of the way. Normal attacks you can block. Yellow attacks, when you parry them, you do kind of a big attack back to them that does a ton of damage or just outright kills them. The real cool thing about doing it for boss fights is it does a really cool scene along with you doing a lot of damage to the boss. So I would recommend kind of getting good at those before you try them in the boss fight, because not only does it do a lot of damage, it looks really cool as hell too. So,
Nice.
and that actually was kind of the make or break thing for me for the final boss. And once you got the pattern down, you could see, oh, they're gonna do their big attack that ends with them, attacking me with a yellow attack. All right, now I can do this thing and do a ton of damage and have something that looks super cool. I thought the story was interesting in this. And it kind of, people are, I think, a little too harsh on the story on this game. It's not the best story I've ever played. It reminds me a lot of like PS2 era and 360 era games where it's like, you have enough of a story, it's well voice acted, it looks super cool. They're not here to have somebody, give you a dissertation for 30 minutes about, the true king of Persia or whatever. It's a cool story that's gonna keep you moving. Sargon is really cool as a main character. He sort of says enough to be interesting without being annoying. You don't realize it until a little ways in, but he gets dirtier and kind of more messed up and banged up as the game goes on, which I think is a cool effect. I'm trying to think of what else. It took me about 16 hours to finish the game, which I thought was actually a pretty long time for a Metroidvania. I really like the fact that how the game is designed. You can actually sight read a lot of the traversal puzzles. So a lot of it is kind of, oh, I know what I'm going to need to do. I just need to stay on it as I'm going through the puzzle. And if it isn't, it has that really rewarding traversal thing of, I made it a little further in this kind of technical jumping platforming puzzle thing. Oh, now I see what I need to do the next time. All right, I'm going to make it a little bit further. And it feels so rewarding to have you kind of making progress through this not super difficult thing, but it's challenging enough and it looks cool enough to feel really rewarding by the time you get to the end of it. And I think a lot of games, especially Metroidvania games, don't really nail that. But until this week, I didn't realize it was this was developed by the Rayman team, and I was like, that's why traversal and platforming feel so good. All right, perfect. That makes a lot of sense. One small, not really spoiler thing here. You don't get the double jump in this game until really late, and when you unlock it, it feels really good. Like, Rock Lee pulling off the leg weights. It's just like, oh yeah, now it's on. Like, this is the real business. So, it's really impressive that they kind of held that back as long as they did, because you get to use all of the other platforming abilities before that, and you get to use so many of them in really interesting ways before you get kind of the standard thing you unlock really early. So I highly recommend this. This will be a Game of the Year candidate for me easily. There's even when I was struggling and frustrated on some of the bosses, kind of like Dark Souls style, it's just like, all right, I died on that boss, I made it a little bit further. Like, all right, I made it to the halfway point of their health bar this time. I'm going to make it 75% of the way through. A couple more tries, I totally have it down. So, highly recommended. Please go check this out. It's really, 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 really good. Last game here, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, came out this week. I'm absolutely not going to be talking about any story spoilers here. So go in. Don't worry. Ichiban
I have heard great things about this game. Like, it seems to be the best of the best so far from this franchise.
I think you've nailed it. I think it's incredible how much the team puts their faith in their new protagonist, because Kiryu is great. Like, he was there for 7 games and now like 1 spin-off game, and this game too, but I'm not there. But the confidence they have in Ichiban as their new character is so good, and he's, from minute 1 when you see him again, you're like, yeah, he's incredible. He's just the best. He's the best dude. The golden retriever of video games. It's like, hey, how can you hate this guy? Come on, look at him. He's the best. So it's so good to have him back, and just the team leading with their strongest foot forward. You've got a bunch of the party members from the Yakuza Like a Dragon back. They're all still really great. There's been a bunch of time that's passed since the last game, and it's fun to see all of the party members in different spots and like different parts of their life, and you can tell they've gotten closer over the last couple of years, which is really great. I think like I'm part of the way through chapter 3. I don't know how many chapters they are. Probably 15, because it's one of these games. And I'm not looking at the hidden trophies or anything. But so far, I'm really, really happy with where the story has been going. I'm really happy with how they've been telling the story. I am in Hawaii, since the game kind of takes place in Yokohama and Hawaii. I'm in Hawaii. It's really funny to hear just a bunch of... So when you're running into enemies in Yokohama and you're fighting them, they have like combat barks and everything, but it's all in Japanese and they don't subtitle it, because otherwise you just have 400 things on the screen all at once at every time. All of the characters in Hawaii speak English, even though I have the game set on Japanese. So hearing combat barks from guys that are named Connor and Mitchell that I'm fighting on the streets of Hawaii is really, really good. So I'm having this kind of whiplash of like, oh, a lot of people are speaking to me in English. Oh, right, Ichiban doesn't understand English. This is a problem. So that has been really, really good. I think the thing that I am also, I've been playing a ton of this on the Portal because my kid was homesick this week, and of course it's a Yakuza Like a Dragon game, so it starts off with like a horrific graphic murder because almost all of these games do. So it's been running flawlessly on the Portal, which is really, really great. I think the thing that I'm the most impressed by is the improvements they've done to the battle system. The biggest one in this game is when you have a character and you're picking their commands, you can actually move them in a little circle on the ground. So there's a little bit of an area you can move them to kind of orient them or kind of get them in a better position to attack or defend or whatever. And because of that, there's a ton of new options that they've unlocked. So some of the obvious ones are like the old kind of action games. You can move your character next to something that's sitting around, and it'll show like a little, like picking up a item icon. So you know when you pick attack, they're going to pick that thing up and go over and hit the enemy you've selected with them. You could do that in the previous game, but it was kind of left to chance about whether or not you were in the right position or kind of did you wiggle yourself next to something that you could pick up. Now you can just make that happen. The thing that turns out to be way stronger than I thought it was going to be is when you have an attack that knocks enemies back, it will show a little arrow showing the direction they're going to fly. You do way more damage when you either hit them into like an object in the environment, a wall, a parked car, something like that, or into another enemy. So
you're quite literally the bouncer, which is what this series came from.
Right, like you're hitting these enemies, you're hitting them a couple of times, knocking them into another enemy, and then doing a bunch of damage to both of them because you knocked both of them down at the same time. On top of that, you have an option where once you get more people in your party, if you hit an enemy towards another party member, they automatically hit the enemy that you bounce into them. So you're getting a free attack just for kind of positioning Ichiban into the right spot to knock him into your other character. So they've done a really great. I kind of get the impression too from what I've been playing so far that I haven't unlocked everything in the battle system yet, but so far everything that they've had in there has been really, really good, and I liked the battle system before, but I feel like I have way more options this time other than kind of, I'm going to pick the skill and do some damage. I'm going to pick attack and we're going to knock them over. Yay! Now I have a little bit more strategy there to kind of get some cool stuff done. So I'm super excited to keep playing this. I'm enjoying the battle system. I'm enjoying the story. Game looks really good. So far running flawlessly. Their engine they had a big step up in The Man Who Erased His Name, and this one looks even better, and it's great. I really wish I could talk more about the story stuff because I've been happy with where it's been going, but I don't want to spoil it because it starting at the beginning of the game it relies so much on some of the stuff that happened at the end of the previous game, so I don't want to spoil any of that stuff, but so far so good. I'm really enjoying it. I kind of, it's really the only thing I want to play this week at all, and just kind of sit down and just kind of knock the whole thing out in one go. But I think I've been playing for 6 or 7 hours, I think, so far, and I'm only in chapter 3, so this is I'm in for the long haul.
Just a drop in the bucket, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even started. I haven't even unlocked any of the. I just unlocked the Sujimon system, which is the Pokemon system from the previous game, and like that only just unlocked. So I haven't even unlocked the Crazy Taxi thing and the Pokemon Snap thing and the other mini games they have. So we'll see how deep into this
Best of
rabbit hole I
luck.
get. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about how many entries there are in the completion list that have question marks on them so far. So we'll see where that goes. Yikes. But yeah, really loving it. I'll be talking about it more as the weeks go on, but it's only been out for a couple of days here, so I'm really only scratching the surface here. But it's great. I love it. That's the games I'm playing. Let's take a break. A text waiting for me.
I'm super jealous about you having a portal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been watching those stupid things, and I'm still watching them now, too. Nope. No one's got anything. PlayStation's like, nope, it's gone.
What's really weird is, like, I feel like once they got the marketing out about what it does, it's a really great device for, like, my family is watching TV, I just want to play something and hang out with my family.
Yeah.
I can just fire up the portal and it works. And it's been flawless for me, I think largely because I ironed out all of the issues with remote play, playing it on my PC, playing it on my phone and stuff like that. So it uses that same setup. So if it works, as far as I can tell, and as far as what I've been reading for people, it seems like if that stuff works, this is going to work for you pretty well. So I just don't think they realized it was going to be as big as it was.
I didn't think it was going to be either, just because they didn't seem to have a clue on what it was. So.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those Sony things where it's like you have this perfect market that you can market this to, like parents that want a game and their kids want to watch Paw Patrol, and you can't do both at the same time. This thing is $200 and we'll let you play your PS5 while your kid is watching Paw Patrol.
Yeah, because it even got as far as like, well, all right, I can't buy one of those, but what about a Steam Deck? And I'm like,
right,
for $150 more, I can get the super low tier, but I'm also not going to spend $500 for the next tier.
Right. And like you can run, so there's an open source PlayStation remote play called Chiaki that a lot of people are using on the Steam Deck to connect to their PS5. Apparently it works really, really well, and you can get sometimes a little bit clearer and a little bit smoother and better looking games than through the PlayStation app. Sort of like Moonlight and Sunshine does. But to me, the appeal of the Portal is I have the haptics, I have the triggers, the rumble, I have the DualSense features, and it's not as heavy and as big as the Steam Deck is, because obviously the Steam Deck will do nearly every PC game and remote play and this, it's an emulation. It does like 400 things, but
I'm not bad talking the Steam Deck. It's just that price difference. It's like, okay, $200 or $359 for the low end.
The Steam Deck is still pretty big and pretty heavy. So, and I haven't really had any like size or weight issues with the Portal. So I've been really happy with it so far. I was hoping I wasn't going to roll the dice and just get like this hot turd of a thing, but also I forgot to mention, I think the battery actually might last 8 to 10 hours, like Sony has said. I was playing Infinite Wealth for about 3 hours, and I only lost 1 pip of the 3 pips of the battery. And I have the screen on like more than like 75% brightness. I have a vibration on. I have the haptics on. So like, that's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Someday.
One day. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let me open up trailers here, and we can just knock out the rest of this episode. Seems like things are going poorly downstairs, so I don't want to be up here too much longer. Also, I'm tired of being in this really warm room. It is... it's 80 degrees in here right now, because it's 80 degrees outside.
Office is like 52.
It's not bad.
Feels nice.
We can't make our mind up. The snow all melted on Friday, and it was gone
All of
for
ours too.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And right as I was on my way down here, there was ice snow falling.
Perfect.
Not the fun snow, the ice snow,
The best.
Well,
where it's just like a frozen slush before it hits the ground.
Yeah.
I had heard that we are supposed to get hit with another snowstorm again,
Oh, fun.
but I haven't heard anything. Besides someone saying that, I haven't heard or seen anything about
But
that.
besides the guy down the street being like, elbow's acting up again.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys ready to wrap this thing up?
Yep.
Sure.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of January 29th, 2024. Death Stranding Director's Cut comes out on iOS and OS X. It's on sale for $20, which is half off near launch. $40 for a mobile game is... That's a lot of game, and I love it, but that's a lot of cash, man. I can't find any footage of this game. I'm sure it will run fine on OS X. Like, that's not the concern. Can't find any footage of this game running on iOS other than the Apple's... It's very funny to see Apple coming out with being like, we are committed to games. We really love gaming. And it's like, yeah, the last guy said that iPhones won't be able to run games because that's for nerd losers. So I remember. This is pretty fun. But I haven't been able to find
Gamers never forget, am I right?
That's right. That's right. I haven't been able to find any footage of this running on an iOS device. So I'm curious to see. Apparently the iPhone 15, I think, is the most recent one. Apparently it's pretty powerful, but this is a pretty big game. It's a Strand game. You got to have some power for the Strand.
Hey, Boston.
Yeah.
Why is Death Stranding as good as it is?
Because it's another meditative game. Holding L2 and R2, walking through the countryside.
May have a good point there.
Yeah. Listen to some low roar, walking through US that looks like Iceland. It's great.
I will say, you do get a certain sense of dread when you come across the
black
BT
things in the sky
area.
happen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I have all this cargo and I cannot
That's
fight
so
right
much
now.
stuff. Oh my god. Yeah. Every time I see footage of this again, I'm just like, I could go back and get that
PC.
platinum.
It's on PC, dude.
Yeah. I could go back and get that platinum. I just have like a bunch more deliveries to do. That's the easy part. I've got all the upgrades. I've got all the equipment. I've got the zip lines.
You know what?
I've got it
You know
all.
what the really scary part for me?
I
got it for free from Epic.
There you go. You already have it.
That's right. You go with Epic too. Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone's looking to play it for the first time, please play the Director's Cut version. It has a ton of really good improvements. That's the one you should play. Anyhoozle, next game up, BlazBlue Entropy Effect. This is coming out on PC. It came out on mobile devices a while ago. This is the side-scrolling BlazBlue roguelike thing that is interesting because nobody from roguelike communities seems to be talking about it, so I'm getting the impression that either it's not really a roguelike or it's bad. I don't know which one is true. So
we have to cover this, Boston.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait for the scientist's opinion.
Yeah, we'll let the scientists play it, not us. I'm good. Wait a minute. Next game is Song of Nunu, a League of Legends story. Comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and series consoles. This is you and like an abominable snowman teaming up to do a platforming thing. This is Tequila Works developing this. It looks pretty cool. Looks like I like this era of people kind of coming back to these like third-person action platforming games. Like we got a lot on the PS2 and the 360 era of just like, yeah, I could play like a 10-hour kind of cool buddy platforming game. Yeah, I'll play that.
Mm-hmm.
So this looks pretty cool. I'm interested to see what the reviews are going to be for this, because I think a lot of the League of Legends story games that have come out have reviewed really well. I think they've chosen good studios to develop these games. So we'll see if this is another one that seems to do really well. Next game here, Granblue Fantasy Relink. This is the game that was announced
Looking forward to
8 years ago, and
Yep.
at some point, I don't remember who was Arc System Works was making originally, and then
Yes.
eventually Psy Games, who develops Granblue Fantasy, was just like, no, now we're doing it. Don't worry about it. This is the third-person action hack-and-slash RPG that seems to have a heavy co-op focus, but co-op isn't required. So it seems like one of those things where you can kind of play with your friends and hang out and do a bunch of missions and do some cool hack and slash stuff. It looks exactly like Granblue Fantasy, which is really cool. Some of this stuff doesn't always nail the look of the games, and I'm really excited to see what this turns out to be, because it looks pretty cool.
There is a demo out that has 3 different sections. There's a tutorial section, a story section that gives you like just a short, like I think it's like chapter 2 or 3 glimpse, and then there is a 3 side quest section, which is where you can also do some of the co-oping in the demo.
Oh, okay.
I have not checked out the last one. I checked out the first 2. So
Do you like it so far?
Yes, I do, and that's the problem. I don't have time for this game, but I think I'm still gonna buy it because I feel like this is gonna be one of those games where if I don't pick it up at launch, I am never gonna see it again.
Probably. Does it have a physical version here in the US?
It does. Yep.
Yeah, I'll probably have to scoop that up then. Treat it like an Atlas game where it's like, those are all the ones we made, bye.
Kind of what I'm doing. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get to it at some point, but I just need to make sure that I've got it so I can get to it.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's like only 35 other RPGs coming out in this month and the next, so...
Yeah, because the big one's coming out at the end of the shortest month of the year.
Yep. It's like coming out on Leap Day. No big deal.
Yeah.
They get that extra day. Yeah. All right, next game here, Persona 3 Reload, talking about more JRPGs coming out PS4, PS5, and, sorry, that's the last one, coming out PS4, PS5, Xbox One Series consoles, and PC. This is Game Pass day and date. It's Persona...
This is a remake, right? Like, it looks like a full from the ground remake.
It is a full from the ground remake. I'm trying to avoid spoilers for this. I know some people are like, this game's 20 years old. I don't know what they changed. I'm going to assume they've changed something or a bunch of stuff along the way, other than we know Tartarus, which is the dungeon you're crawling every night in the game. That is different, supposed to be more varied, which is kind of a welcome change after the PS2 game. If you haven't played Persona 3, it was pretty bare bones in the dungeon. It was a lot of like, now these floors are green. They look the same as the blue ones, which is fine. I mean, they had probably no budget at that point. So I am curious to see what is going to be different in this game, especially storyline-wise. I will be playing this alongside Infinite Wealth because apparently I hate myself and I'm going to juggle 2 giant JRPGs at the same time. But
have fun with that.
I love Persona 3. Like, I love the original Persona 3. Unfortunately, the female main character isn't in this, which
I was going to say, they took out that from FES, yeah.
It's a real bummer, but I get it. Like, that would probably be adding an incredible amount of extra stuff to this game. But I thought her storyline and her social links were really cool. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to check this out because Persona 3 is great. And if you haven't played Persona 3, number one, if you have Game Pass, you got both of them because you have Persona 3 Portable and you'll have this. So you can
3 is leaving right now.
Yeah, I thought they were getting rid of Portable.
Well, you got the brand new one then. So you can play
they're getting rid of P3P and they're brought this one on instead.
Okay, that's a fair trade, I think. Nimp, are you picking this up?
No.
Okay.
Not because I don't want to,
right?
But
because of all the other RPGs.
Yes.
Yeah. So 3 and 4 were on sale the other week for like $12 for both of them.
Oh, that's a steal.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, I'm buying Persona 3 and 4. And then it was like, oh, Persona 3 is leaving Game Pass. Good timing.
That's right. Moon, do you think you're going to check this out? Probably not day one, but do you think you check it out eventually?
I want to. I really, really want to, because like some of my first introduction in this show when I was still a listener was you pimping out P3P and me playing it on one of my trips over to the States.
Right.
On the trusty old PlayStation Portable.
That's right. P3P on the PSP. Let's go.
I haven't played them in a long time.
Right.
Like a long time.
They're not a game
So
that
it's
you
like
drop and come back to for good feels.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, is like I haven't even played a traditional RPG in a long time either.
Yeah,
like,
true.
It might be my stop playing kids game thing. I might end up jumping in P3P and then getting that one out the way, because I don't want to play this and then go backwards. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like,
but if you already played P3P, you're good.
And then play this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I played it like 12 years ago, dude.
That's true.
You're not going to remember anything. You'll be fine.
Yeah. All right, last game here this week. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League comes out PS5, series consoles, and PC. I feel like this is probably the one game on the list that really needs no introduction, because either you're pretty excited for it, or you're looking at it like me with squinty eyes and being like, I
want to like it, I want to play it, I want to buy it, I don't want to spend $70 for it.
No.
I will say, though, if you're looking for some Suicide Squad options, go check out Critical Misses DC Season 1 and 2.
Yeah, we watched both of the Suicide Squad
movies.
We watched
Suicide Squad and the Suicide Squad.
That's right. Yeah, we did both of those. I do have to give Rocksteady some credit. They have been out there talking about their season pass stuff, and they are saying that, like all video games should do, Bungie, cough cough, when you buy the season pass, you can just work on it forever. So you just work on it whenever you want. It's
they're taking the
Halo Master Chief Collection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone should do that.
Minecraft Dungeons does the same thing.
Exactly. There's no reason that you should have FOMO for a season pass. Please. So I really want this game to be good. I like the idea of having more open world 4-player co-op options. We don't really have a lot of those. Like, you can go play Crackdown 3, but there aren't a ton of those. And I like the idea of like bombing around with your friends for a while in a week over week in this giant world.
Yeah. So the worst part is I've seen a whole bunch of like the cinematic trailers for it, and they are gold. Like, some of them are absolutely gold.
Mm-hmm.
So one with Deadshot aiming a sniper rifle at the Flash, and then Captain Boomerang was like, dude, it's the Flash. You might as well just mail him the bullet and see how good that is.
Right.
And then he takes the shot, and then the Flash obviously dodges it, stands right next to him and says, did you get him? Was it me? You might as well have just mailed it to me.
Right. There's some pretty good stuff in there. I feel badly because the Rocksteady didn't really seem to know how to show off this game at every turn, and the previews were pretty bad when they sort of lifted the NDA restrictions on the alpha that a lot of people played. A lot of people said once you get into it, it's actually really good. It just, you have to get into it, you have to play it, and you kind of have to see it to really get it. And once you do, it's really good. So I hope it's good. I hope it turns out great, but we'll see over the next couple of weeks, I think, once more.
I hope it goes on sale.
Yeah. I really wish it was on Game Pass, because I probably would check it out pretty quickly if it was. But
that would be a no-brainer. That would already be installed.
Sadly, not everything can be on Game Pass. We're not there yet. Yeah. Someday, maybe. That's all the releases. Yeah, that's all the releases we got. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We are out of time. We got to get skedaddling. But you can skedaddle over to our website over at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. We talked about it earlier. Talked about it on the Outcast, which we'll get to in a minute. Go join the Discord server. If you are a patron, please link your Discord account and your Patreon account to get access to the super secret Patron Peeps channel. You too can vote on something that we're doing on the Outcast. Listen to the Outcast to check what it is. Based on Moon's groans, you might be able to guess what it is. Go check that out. Discord is really great. Got a ton of really great people over there in the best community on the internet. Like I always say, it's not one of those things where we've got like 500 channels. They're popping off 300 messages a minute. None of that stuff. It moves at a reasonable pace where you might be able to read a lot of the stuff that's coming in. And if you don't, that's cool too. It's all good, man.
Yep.
Also have a new channel over there for all of our like clans and groups and friends things on a bunch of games like Puzzmo and the Warcraft Rumble and stuff like that. So go check that out if you want to play with a bunch of community members and us.
If you need a Blue Sky code, hit me up.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of those too.
Same. Yeah.
Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones I think are numbers. I don't know though. I'm not
Last
sure.
time I checked. The fun is for a $5. I can say that for sure.
Yeah, you updated it last.
I did a couple weeks ago. The $5 tier is the recommended one. Now that we're mentioning that gets you everything above and beyond that is greatly appreciated. But talked about all the cool stuff you get at the beginning of the show. Your support is greatly appreciated. We really do. It does help pay for all of this. Like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I have to pay more for podcast hosting because we're putting more stuff into this feed now that we're putting like Pup and all the extra stuff in there as well. So all that money goes straight over there to the hosting. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. Be the annoying fan and tell everybody on your social media. That stuff really does help. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube if you're watching this stuff over there. That stuff really does help by promoting the episodes, getting us into whatever black box the algorithm is now. Dude,
we're too woke to be in that algorithm.
That's true. We are too woke for the algorithm. And don't forget also rating the show in wherever you listen to. If it allows ratings, that stuff does help a ton for discovery as well. I think that's it. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
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 All right, Nimp. What are your titles?
First, I just want to say out loud, why is Reloaded still $69 on last gen?
That sucks. That's
it's
rough.
$69 for current and last gen. Stupid.
Right. It's too much.
Anyway.
No thanks.
I have Those Thoughts Continue, Why So Grindy, Questionable Impressionist, Most Paranoid Employee Award, Beach Volleyball Equivalent, Take Them into the JRPG Side, and The Golden Retriever of Video Games.
All right, Moon, what do you have?
We are in trouble. Scouse is on a reality TV show. Pained Realization in audio format. Why So Grindy. Most Paranoid Employee. I went without the award. Two Shells, No Health. Torturing Koroks. A Man Who Doesn't Shower. I Don't Use Soaps. And No, It's Worse.
All right, I also have Pained Realization in audio form. So it's worse. I Still Use Bar Soap, Questionable Impressionist, and Most Paranoid Employee.
I really like Most Paranoid Employee.
I'm leaning towards that one. I want to say Questionable Impressionist has the mouthfeel of cellar door. Like it's one of those perfect pairings of words.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to circle Most Paranoid Employee, though. I'm going to juice this episode with some of the SEO magic.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
Oh.
Let's see what Nimp has gleaned from the internet about Lethal Company.
Oh, I'm not going to use anything. I'm going to use real world examples.
Me too.
Also
right.
keep... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say I'm ready.
Oh, okay.
Also keep what?
Oh, I also keep thinking that game is Lethal League, not Lethal Company. But Lethal League is a very different video game.
Yeah, that's a baseball game.
Yeah. All right, starting in. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 849 for January 29th, 2024. Most Paranoid Employee.
Is this the day I get laid off?
Coffee keeps disappearing, and I don't know why.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening or watching or both. We greatly appreciate it. We hope we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.